What's for lunch? TBBLC.
Stay in your seat.
What's for lunch today? Sazeets. Brown bag, brown bag.
The Brown Bag Lunch Crew. And welcome back to TBBLC episode 4. This one's going to be titled The Golf Guys. We'll get into a couple intramural stories later on here. A couple of my good friends who come from Bass Rocks Golf Club, The Rock. And then, as usual, we got Drew Luster, Gloucester, Mass resident, as well as Devin
How
Murray.
we doing up in here?
How we doing? Very excited. Big episode today.
Big episode. And just before we dive into all the intramural topics, what have you guys been up to lately?
I have been watching a little bit of Netflix. Not a little bit, a lot, I'll actually say. When I'm not grinding COD until my eyes bleed, I'm watching Ozark. I think I'm on episode 5 right now, season 3. People seem to, you got the people who are like, okay, we'll put it in the same category as Breaking Bad. Then there's people like, no, that's such a disgrace. I would put it up against Breaking Bad. I won't say that it's better right now, but I would put it up in a pretty even fight against Breaking Bad. And then, of course, I've seen one episode of Tiger King. I think one episode was enough for me. When he starts talking about the sexual lubricant for men and women in his gift shop, as well as the underwear, and then the moderator, interviewer, or whatever says, "What's your favorite?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't wear any. I go commando," and starts chuckling. That was enough for me. And then obviously you seeing that, was it that White Panther or whatever the hell that thing was, which looked like it belonged in an Arctic temperature, just stuffed into the back of a hot Floridian van. Not my cup of tea. How about you guys?
So I'm not usually a big binge watcher. I'm usually the guy, and Drew knows, I'm the guy that watches The Office over and over and over again and doesn't watch any other show.
Yeah.
I'm that, and I can pretty much tell you every line of The Office. And so I'm basically the guy that doesn't branch out, doesn't try anything else. But since I've had more time now, I've started to, like Drew said, other than when I'm grinding on COD, I've been playing a lot of Madden too. But other than that, I do want to get into Ozark. Haven't watched any of it yet. So great job not giving anything away, Drew. 'Cause I definitely want to get into that. I tried Tiger King, and Drew, I actually gave it more time than you did. What is there, 7 or 8 episodes, I think?
I don't even know.
Something like that. I watched like 5 of them, or 5 or 6 full episodes.
Jesus Christ.
Because I was like, okay, this is like the #1 show on Netflix. And I knew that I had heard that there was like a murder going on and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's probably going to get pretty interesting. So I gave it until then. I'm like, come on, it's gonna pull me in at some point.
Yeah.
And then they even started talking about a little bit of the murder situation and everything. And I just I don't understand. I get that it's like he's kind of an idiot, and it's like that kind of pulls people in a lot of the time. And I cannot still understand what people liked about that. If I watch 5, 6 episodes and I still have no interest whatsoever, I was like, I can't do this. I can't keep watching it.
I'm on the opposite end real quick. I'm on the opposite end because I think like for you to watch, what is it? Probably 5.5, 6 hours of that. And like, that's still like, you're like on the fence. Like, I just think that's crazy. Like, I don't think I could let myself watch that much Tiger King without feeling like half my brain just spilled through the back of my head. Like,
it did feel like that. I also was not like glued to the TV the whole time. I mean, I was like, I was up and like on my phone most of the time, and like, but I was like trying to like wait for something to pull me in and get me to want to watch, and it just never came. I was watching with my dad and my sister too, and they were a little bit more interested than me, but not very much.
That's the ideal Netflix show, too. It's something you don't have to really pay attention to all that much. I've been grinding AP Bio on Hulu. That one's hilarious. You got Dennis from Always Sunny as the lead in that. And then a lot of conspiracy videos floating around, social media. I've seen a couple, and they just infuriate me because they'll just tie together, apples and chopping wood and act like it's facts. And it's not even close. I just get frustrated by it. Other than that, over the weekend, watched the 2004 final round of the Masters, Phil Mickelson victory. I didn't even dare to watch any of the other days because it was Tiger. I would have watched the Jack Nicklaus one. It was a little too early on in the week. I had some stuff going on. But, yeah, what was it? Friday and Sunday I stayed away from the little Tiger rounds.
Even the
like,
historic
something that sounds like
2019
you don't like-
comeback.
It wasn't a comeback. We've discussed this many times. You can say he hasn't won a major in 11 years. Yeah, but that doesn't mean it was a comeback. Like a comeback, you can argue the injury side of it, but he also put that on himself when he got hit in the face with the 4-iron, 7-iron, whatever it was.
You haven't won a major in a decade. I still think it should be considered a comeback story.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The biggest comeback story I've seen in recent time is probably Kim Kardashian. I'll just say that.
I know where that one goes.
Yeah, I'm on T Swizzle's side on that one.
Didn't? No. Wait, I don't think.
I know.
There you
about.
go.
Yeah. I knew where that one.
Comeback.
I knew where that one came from.
All right, well, let's get right into our interviews of the week. Coming up, we got 3 of the golfers I play a few summer rounds with here and there. Been out to California to watch one of the guys in the U.S. Amateur. You'll hear a little bit more on those type of stories in just a few. All right, intramural stories of the week. This time we're going to do a little Club Champ edition. We got from Hamilton College, Mikey Gillis, the Gill. From Dartmouth University, Mark Turner, the Ivy League guy. And then coming in from Nichols College out in Western Mass, Colby Mitchell. Glad to have you guys on here, boys. What's going on?
Not much. It's good to be here. A little rollerblading accident last night.
Yeah, if the
not
viewers...
a great start to quarantine here.
The listeners on Spotify, if I were to describe Gil's face right now, it'd be like an old cut-up catcher's mitt. That's what it looks like. Took a little digger on the rollerblades last night. Hasn't recovered yet. So let's dig into that story, Gil. What were we doing out nighttime rollerblading? What do we got?
Well, if you ask my parents, I got tripped playing a little sweetheart game, but we were driving back, so we had a couple claws. You know, we're feeling good. Like, we got a little buzz going, got a little blade sesh going. So I don't know whose idea it was, but someone thought it would be a great idea to hold on to the car. Mark, he was driving, so we were like trying to get a lift back somewhere. And then, I don't know, Mitchell was in front of me. I don't know how he didn't go down. Hit the sewer, face plant.
Little ass over tea kettle. Colby, how'd you stay up? Let's hear it. Is it just good athleticism, stability over?
I mean, it was just an athletic move. That's all it was.
I felt like I was driving pretty slow, but
You're going like...
I don't know if I'm concussed or just still hungover.
Just a weak core on you, Mikey. That's about it. Let's get into a little Club Champ discussion. We got 3 total trophies in this crew right here. Mark's in the lead in the clubhouse with 2. Myself, I got 1. Couple of
yeah, I've got a couple runner-ups.
Yeah, a couple of future winners maybe here out of Colby and Mikey. What are you guys looking forward to this summer?
Club Champ.
I'm looking forward to getting the putting stroke from a figure 8 to a straight line back and through.
Mark, you got any words for the competition? You're probably the odds-on favorite. We'll see if James makes a little comeback or not.
James might be the worst golfer at the course down there with Saj and Sween right now.
Oh,
but no.
Boy.
It's actually hard to watch James right now.
Well, he figures it out when it comes tourney time. I will say that for him.
I don't know if he's going to figure it out this time, Curt.
No, he's
I
actually
start anything like it.
Oh, goodness.
I'm
Now,
just hoping comes up and scoops Goose's spot for runner-up this year.
yeah, that's the just story of the year from last year's Club Champ. Yeah, Mark, you won whatever, but Goose is, what do you have, a closing 68?
I've been
60.
closing 67 on a Sunday.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of lit up the Meadows to make everybody be like, wow, if Mark makes a couple of bogues, strings a couple together here, he's going to be in some serious trouble. I mean, I would have paid a lot of money for a Goose Marky T playoff.
I'm sitting there in the 16th fairway. This fucking kid, he's sitting on the green. He backs off this putt 4 times. I'm not kidding. He goes up to this thing, goes back down on his knees 4 times, goes back. He's got the Jack Nicklaus 86 Masters putter. He hits his putt, probably 10 feet, right up the hill from birdie. Hits his putt, raises the putter right away, right when he fucking hits this thing, right in the hole. Crowd goes wild. I'm sitting there in the fucking right rough up there. I'm like, who is this clown? He needs to get out of here.
And then
Anyways,
follows
goes
that up with
on that
17.
though?
Yeah, he follows it up with a birdie on 17. 235-yard par 3. Goose knocks it on there with a little 4-iron, rolls it in, applying the pressure from the back.
Yeah, and I
I
mean
was
that.
feeling
That was a little 20-footer on 17 for all the fans that were out there watching. I know Colby was in the final group playing still. He strung together a what? Even par?
I don't know. I think I shot like 70 or 71 that day.
All right.
I shot 69 the day before.
Yeah, you were right there, and then me and Gil were a little further back. I was way back. I don't know. Where were you, Gil?
Yo, were you playing with Goose that day? Sunday?
Yes, he
Who
was.
else?
He was.
Yeah. Unconscious.
Gil
Unconscious.
was fed up in the fairway on 18 at one point. Goose
I
backed
couldn't
off
take
the
it.
iron shot. He knew he needed a birdie because he just saw Mark birdie the 16th. And then he backed off maybe 4 to 5 times, and Mike was just in the background shaking his head.
No, I think I said, all right, I've had enough. I'm just gonna go right now, and I just hit away and just started walking. I didn't even wait for him or something.
Yeah.
Slept on though at Club Champ was the fact that Mark shouldn't have even been playing. He wanted to withdraw. I remember it was only me and him for some reason. We were in a twosome the first week.
That was because
And-
I had to fly back to Texas, so Pete hooked me up
Oh,
with
yeah,
an early
yeah.
tee time.
Yeah,
So I'm sitting. I get to what was it? 14 that I had the spat.
He hit the Meadows, and he just starts crying. He made fun of me because I had complained about my back problems before and said I was going under the knife, kind of joking. My back hurt. All of a sudden, he's whining. He's not playing good, just made a couple of bogeys. Oh, grabs the back. Oh, he starts to hurt. I want to withdraw. I think he knew I was coming for him. But
A little salt in the
second.
wound if he had a couple over par. You just taunting him the whole way down the Meadows.
Yeah.
Was. I remember you carried my bag.
Yeah, I was so annoyed with him, and he was whining like a girl. And I'm like, if I'm going to win the club champ, I want the best of the best to be there, and I want to beat the best of the best. I don't want to have to win with Mark crying off about his back. So
That's
Very
an
much.
that's an all-time low move by Mark, is allowing you to carry his bag in the Meadows. I don't care if my back is snapped in two pieces. I will drag that fucker down the fairway before letting you carry my bag for me. A competitor, not a caddy, a competitor.
Yeah, that is soft. Why didn't you have a caddy in the first place? Nothing better than a caddy.
I don't know. First weekend, no one really had caddies. I don't know why. Neither of us did.
I always got.
Well, that was the night.
bag.
That was the night after we went to. What was it?
Tacky tropical.
We said we weren't gonna have any claws. No beers, nothing. 12, 15 later, here we are, waking up, driving right to the first tee.
I mean, that's just not going to
think-
happen, especially if you have a bad round. That the after drinks on the bar, at the bar on the deck, it's bound to happen. You're not going to shoot a 75 and then just walk up there and not have a drink.
Yeah, I know.
Something to ease the pain. Hell, Goose drinks like 8 beers around just to cause the nerves. That's what he said. He goes,
Years around, dude. Goose is taking 12 shots and getting
That's right,
stony
with-
baloney up
like
there.
12 whiskey shots. Never mind.
A lot of mixies, that's for sure. Let's get into the golf season, boys. How'd you guys do this year in college? Give me a little quick synopsis.
I hit the ball unbelievably. My flat stick was like literally doing figure eights.
So typical.
I think I averaged 40 putts around. No, it was worse than ever. And I missed every tournament. I lost in 2 playoffs by the first one. This kid hit a bomb on the last hole. And it was like the first tournament of the year, and we were in a playoff to get in. And that was pretty much the definition of my my fall season.
All right. Colby?
I mean, we were all right. We won our first tournament. It was like a long, tight course, and I was like coming in like even 1 under with like 3 holes to play. Holy Toledo, did I fall apart? I was just rifling off bogeys, and then like second day, I'm like 2 back or something from like the actual lead, which is ridiculous. And same scenario, I'm coming like even par, and I just rifle off, like snap hook one out left, and I'm like, holy shit, not again. And I end up losing by like 5. I went bogey, double, bogey.
What's with you in the finish? I mean, we've had the same problem we've seen in the club champs of
Yeah,
past.
Seriously, that might have been the worst.
What was the number on that one? 4 holes. We were how many over?
4 holes. I was 4. I went quad, par, triple, double. So what's that? 9?
9
9
over.
over.
And you were what, like 1 over even going into it?
I think I was even 1 over, something like that. I was 1 over because I shot 79.
That's just absolutely absurd. All right, Mark, let's hear the Ivy League. What do we got?
We only played. No, it was nothing special. We only played 3 events because we had 7 events this spring that obviously now never happened.
Yeah.
But there was a bunch of mediocre golf out of all of us. I felt like I was like the Gill, hitting the ball well for the most part, not making any putts. Jimmy T off on another planet, never played. We had a bunch of these freshmen came in, they stink. Okay. So it was kind of just, there's the 2 other juniors that are good. One of them just got suspended for plagiarism. We got a senior. He's a good player. He's a Christian boy though. Fell in love with the Bible. He's no good now. So we kind of a bunch of mediocre golf. It was nothing special. I think our best finish was like a fourth or a 5th.
I might send this to your golf team. See how they like it.
I've already told them to your face.
What year was it when Kathy hoodwinked me into texting her when I was texting your phone, and I leaked the news of suspension?
Oh, damn, freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one of the. I was so confused. I'm like Snapchatting you, talking to you about it, and then I text you for a second, like the next day, to see if you got suspended or not. And it turns out it was actually Kathy on the phone. And
it was mom and dad. Somehow my phone broke and they hooked up my Apple ID, but I got in trouble I was boozing for no reason with my buddy in his room on a Thursday night. Next thing you know, the cops are outside our room, get taken away because we have this dry policy, no hard alcohol, bunch of hard alcohol in there. Supposed to get suspended. Talked my way out of it. But then going in, didn't tell my mom and dad. I thought it was just going to be like clean sailing. Kurt's texting my mom and dad about it, like, dude, are you suspended? What's going on? Next thing I know, my mom's calling me. She's like, Mark, what's Curtis talking about? Are you suspended? Are you expelled from school?
He left out the part where it's his phone I'm texting. I'm not texting like his mom or dad.
Weren't you taken to like not the EMT but the nurse or something?
Yeah.
And then you told her that what did you say?
I told the nurse I wanted to take her out on multiple dates, but she didn't like that, so they gave me a new nurse, and she wasn't so nice.
Was this nurse-related visit due to the alcohol?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, you acted, Gil, I like how you called him out there, because he acted like the cops, just showed up to the dorm room for no reason. He's probably sleeping on the floor, just unconscious, and that's how they picked him up.
Unnecessary. Well, that brings you into, why doesn't Gil tell the story about how he got me in trouble the next time he came up?
I feel like you should tell it.
No chance.
Yeah, I'll tell it, because I remember I got lost that night. Yeah.
Set the scene here. It's up in Dartmouth. All the boys are up there visiting Marky T.
So we're at the frat, which them 2 were in at the time, are still in, and I don't know what happened. But we were in a different frat, and like the cops came because some kid just like died inside. So we all leave. And I ended up, like, lost. No idea where I am.
Yeah.
And so I'm, like, talking to these random people going in random frats, like, hey, you know where Sayu is? And they're like, oh, yeah, go this way. And I'm like, fuck it. I have no idea. And I, like, find my way back to Mark's dorm. And I just, like, get in his bed at, like, 4:30. Gil and Mark come stumbling in, like, 20 minutes later. Just no idea. Gil fucking jumps on the futon. They're both... I have that picture of you and Gil on the futon, and you guys are like cuddling up.
Gil's fully clothed at this point.
Yeah, and we went and like I wake up at 8:30, and I look over to Mark, and I'm like, "Yo, where's Gillis?" And Mark's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Dude, Gillis isn't here." So we're like, whatever, fuck it, let's go back to bed. Like an hour later, Gillis comes walking in the room with just skinny jeans on, girl skinny jeans. So we're like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like freaking out at us, like, you guys put me in skinny jeans and like threw me in the common room on the couch. We're like, no, we did not. Like, what are you talking about? And so he's like, where are all my clothes? Like, and his clothes are in Mark's room on the floor, which means he left naked out of this room. And so like, whatever, like, we don't know what happened. And 4:00 in the afternoon, like, we're playing poker, and Mark's in class, and he calls us, and he's like, yo, the cops are looking for Mikey right now. Like, what? He's like, dude, he went into some girl's room, pushed her out of her own bed, stole her skinny jeans, and then ran out of the room. Like, what the fuck? And you're like, dude, like, hide him or something. Like, he's being charged with burglary and assault. We're like, holy shit, Gillis. So we fucking, like, turns out Gil sleptwalk into this girl's room, ass naked, like, trying to push her out of her own bed, and then jumps in the bed, under the covers, just butt naked with this girl, and they, like, take him out. And
I mean, he's looking at a lot of trouble here. I hope the statute of limitations is up on this bad boy and they don't tune into the old pod here.
Oh, dude, he ended up talking to the cops that night, though, because he was, like, so
Yeah,
frightened.
I apologize.
I
That
turned
was a good guy.
no one's getting in trouble. Next thing I know, a week later, I have a reprimand slapped on me. I'm supposed to be suspended again.
Oh, goodness gracious. So continue, Colby. We're at the point where he's tossing the skinny jeans on, I guess, and heading out to the common room.
We don't even know what happened after that. Like, he just woke up, like, in a different building in a common room.
But the saving grace was they were looking in the morning, and the only reason I wasn't found is because I was in the other building.
Oh, man. That is absolutely absurd. This is what happens when you get all three of you muffs at the same college on a Friday night, Saturday night.
Yeah.
All right, let's dig into a little USAM here, Mark. Biggest event that any of us have been a part of. We can skip over the first round, maybe.
Poor Curt flies out to Pebble Beach to watch me shoot a fucking. I don't even know when I shot the first round.
I missed the first round though because my flight got delayed.
Yeah. Let me get out there. So the second round we play over at Spyglass. Playing pretty decent. Actually, we get off. I start on the 10th hole.
I'd want to start on the front if I played that course.
This bogey on 10, but Curt comes to me on the second. It's 11. It's a par 5. I had this good drive out there, and he says one thing to me. He's like, dude, don't come up short. I'm like, all right. He's like, I've seen a bunch of people, blah, blah, blah. They came up short. They're fucked. If you come up short, you can't make birdie. Like, I haven't made a birdie all tournament. All I want to do is make a birdie. I get in the fairway. I literally have a 7-iron in my hand. It's like I think it was like 180 something, 186 to the flag.
Yep.
Carry on the front bunker was only like 172. Greens were pretty firm. Curt's like, dude, one thing, just don't go in the front bunker. I'm like, all right, Curt, I get it. Dude.
I watched that hole for like 3 groups in front of you.
I'm not going to go in the front bunker. Next thing you know, I probably caught a little chunk of skunk on the 7-iron. Plugged in the face of the front bunker. Don't get it. I make a fucking bogey. The worst. And then I'm trying to think.
Now that was the dog leg like left after you get in the fairway and you got water short and then the bunker's just above the water.
Right.
That
exactly.
hole's nasty. That's a nasty little hole.
Oh, brutal. Anyways, I scraped together a bunch of pars somehow. We get up there. Probably one of the easier holes on the course. I think it's hole number 3. It was my 12th hole. I think I scraped out like a 1 over at this point. Feeling pretty good coming off my 14 over the day before. I get up there. It's a little downhill par 3. All you got to do, knock it on the middle of the green, make a par. I had a chunk hook 8-iron about 40 yards left of the green into this waste area. It's like sandy weeds pretty much. And I'm in there. I'm like, James, we just got to get it out of here. 3 hacks later, I'm sitting in the front right rough. I'm looking at a quad. I chunk this chip, and then I roll in like a 30-footer for triple.
It was a damn good triple.
There. I walked away with my 77. Went and watched Victor Hovland. Craziest part of that week, before the Pebble Beach day, I get there. I have an early tee time. I get to the range, and it's somehow we befriended the Oklahoma State coach who's there caddying for Victor Hovland. I walk up on the range. I go, I need to go all the way down to the end of this range so no one watches me hit these balls. I'm hitting this thing. It's not I've ever hit the nugget in my life. Next thing you know, I'm down there by myself on the end. Me and James. James has a broken arm. Next thing, the Oklahoma State coach starts walking over to James because I played in the U.S. Junior earlier in the year, and he saw James with a broken arm. He's like, you guys are here again? Oh, blah. They start chatting. Victor Hovland comes up and starts hitting balls right next to me on the range. I'm like, holy shit, dude. I watch this kid on TV all the time. Like, I look over. This kid could land a ball in a bucket like 400 yards away. I'm lucky to hit a Walmart 100 yards in front of me, 1 out of 5. I start listening to him and his coach talk just because I'm interested. Like, this kid has a potential to win this thing. Eventually he does. These guys are just shooting the shit about girls they saw on the walk over. They're like, what are you doing? Oh, I want to get a beer after this round. I'm like, dude. I'm over here. I'm just trying to make some contact with the golf ball. You guys are thinking, girls, this is awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
played some of the greatest golf I've ever seen in my life.
And I think what people don't realize is watching Pebble on TV. If you see it in person, the greens are postage stamp tiny. The way it was playing that week was firm and fast, and to even keep the ball on the green was very impressive. Totally different than when you watch it for the Pro-Am for the tour guys. But I watched a lot of Victor Hovland that week. I watched Cole Hammer and then a bunch of the other top Ams. And, yeah, I mean, if I was on the range there just shanking a few or towing a couple while you got one of the now predominant ball strikers on tour next to me, I'd be shitting my pants.
It was over before it started when he came over and warmed up next to me. He probably saw this nobody on the end of the range. I'll go warm up next to this kid.
Yeah, cross one off his list.
He's knocked out.
You guys got anything else for me? I think we did a good number here. Got a couple of good stories in.
I got a good one.
All right, let's hear it.
First golfer at the club. All right, so this title, we've had this title going for a number of years now. It was Nate Sweeney. Great kid, gotta love him. One time, me and Mitchell.
Shoe alum.
We show up on the range, or we just got our dunks. We're like eating our bagel. We're not out of the car yet, and we're just kind of sitting parked, looking at the range. And there's Sweeney, and I watch him hit a ball. I'm like, oh my god, it is like a dead shank. So we start laughing. I'm like, Mitchell, we gotta watch Sweeney for a little while now. So our bagel's done. We finished the bagel probably 10 minutes ago. We sit in the car and we were watching him, and it would be duck hook, shank. He could not keep the golf ball on the face of the earth. So then we dubbed him the worst golfer at the club. But recently, there's a new worst golfer, Luke Sargent. Get on the range. He'll get on the range and he'll kind of stripe it. Like, kid has a pretty good swing. When he gets out there, though,
move.
He's just like
landscaper of the course.
Oh my god, yeah.
Hey, I used to have that title for a while. I now have a trophy, so I'm gonna give a big fuck you to Colby and Gil on this one. If I hope Sarge or Sweeney beats one of you two these club champs, and I am dubbing you the worst golfer in the club as quickly as possible as I can.
I should have that club champ.
Well, that's the thing. So we were like, Sarge is horrible. So I was like, you know what? Like, Sween found out about it. We kind of joked. He took it in good spirits. So then we started calling Saj the worst golfer. And then we're like, we got to put the two together. I think it was just me and them one day. I forget why, but it was me and them. And they're playing. They're hacking it around the course. Probably both shot like mid-high 80s. And we get to the Meadows, and it's like close. I think Saj had the lead or something. I forget. Anyways, I remember they were close, and I think they tied 15 with 3-putt doubles. It was like the funniest thing I've ever seen. And anyways, Saj and Sween are chirping. Sween's giving it to him. Saj is kind of nervous. You can tell I think Sween was down by 1 going into like the last few, and Sween just throws like 2 dots and birdies 2 out of the last 3 holes. Saj gets left in the dust. Saj was so mad. So to this day, he's the worst golfer at the club.
That's just a good closing from the Shoe alum there. That's just you gotta tame the nerves. You gotta go out there and get the job done. That's what he did.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. 18, he stuck it to like 5 feet and made it. I was like, jeez.
Little bird on 18 to win?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, but
I mean, I haven't birdied 18 probably since 2015, it feels like.
I know.
So I just definitely defriended you after listening to this right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
if I'm doing a PSA on this, I would hate Mike Gillis for the rest of my life if my name is mentioned on there. Or I just go out and bet him $1,000 and kick his ass. One of the two. All right, boys. Thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure. I'm sure we'll be having more of these talks. Who knows? Maybe Mark can hook me up with the little Parsi Alley on the cast. We can talk some real accolades and achievements in USGA events instead of those 14 over first rounds.
Club Champ is actually, I would rather play Club Champ over the Masters. It's actually best.
What do you think? Live stream from the Club Champ after? Maybe some post-round interviews from each of the boys?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be
That'd be
holy.
electric.
And now we have a second special edition intramural story of the week from one of our own. And I will, without further ado, let Devin take the helm.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about a lot of intramural stories, and last week we had Cal on talking about a big injury, and it made me realize how are we on this show doing intramural stories, and I haven't brought up mine. It's pretty hard to top. From my senior year, it affected my entire year in 2019, certainly my entire last semester of college at Bryant University, and it was intramural basketball. We had only played 1 game so far. This was going into the second game of the year. It was a Sunday night. It was a 10 o'clock game, as we talked about with Cal last week. Those games can be very late at night and everything. So here's the thing leading up to this. I had just gotten a new puppy, my puppy Willow, right? We got her that day. This was February 10th, 2019. I went home for this weekend. I don't usually go home on the weekends, but I wanted to see the dog when we got her. So I went home. I was playing with the dog all day. We got her Sunday morning. And I was home all day. I was contemplating coming back to the game or just going back on Monday morning because I didn't ask till later. But then the guys texted me from our intramural team. It's 4-on-4. So we had 4 guys. So they were like, okay, like we need 1 sub. Like we need to be able to take a break. So I was like, you know what? Fine. I'll come back tonight. I'll play in the game. One of the worst decisions I made in a long time. Didn't know it at the time. So I drove back up at like 7 o'clock, got to campus 8:30, go up, start getting ready for the game. And we go up there, we start the game. It's a very, very competitive game. I played the whole first half. I was playing very well. I had been looking forward to this intramural season for a long time, and been, as much as you can train for an intramural season, I had been. I was having a good game. I was feeling it. I think I had 10 or 12 points in the first half, which is pretty good for me.
Yeah.
And so I was feeling it going into the second half, right? It's like a tie game, back and forth. Very early in the second half, I think a minute or 2 in, get a steal. I'm driving down the court. There's 2 guys on me. I'm not a very aggressive basketball player either, right? Normally I'm a pass first type of guy. If we don't have the numbers, I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to make the smart play.
I was feeling it.
Exactly. I would like to think I can shoot a little bit better too. Shooting's, But anyway, but I was feeling it this game, right? Because I'm playing pretty well. It's a competitive game. I'm playing against a couple guys I know too. So like it was a lot of fun. It was fiery. And So I'm feeling the adrenaline. It's 2-on-1, me being the one, and I'm just like, you know what? No, I'm taking this to the hoop. I don't care. They were calling a lot of fouls. I'm like, at least I can try to get a foul. So I'm driving down the right side. I got one guy like kind of to my left, one guy riding me on the right. I jump stop, right? So I try to like cross over because both of them are kind of, one guy's in front of me, one guy's to my right. So I wanted to come back to the left. I'm dribbling with my right, and I kind of do like a jump. I jumped in the air to do like a big crossover. And right when I came down, I mean, I fell straight on the floor. Like there was no chance. I landed on that right leg, and I felt something. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I felt something rubbed together, and it was a disgusting feeling.
Oh my God.
I didn't know what it was. I've never had I broke my ankle when I was 8 years old. I've never torn a ligament. I've never had a big serious injury like that. So I didn't really know what it felt like, but I landed on my right leg. I fell down. I felt something rubbed together, and I just was laying there, and I was just like in shock. And then all of a sudden the pain hit me. It was like excruciating pain. So, and to set the scene too, this is all just, there's no adults. It's just all people our age.
Is it
reffing the games?
A silent gym at that point? Is there
it's
an
a
eerie
silent gym. It's 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, and it's just a couple refs that are my age doing it for fun, whatever. And the people running the league, they're doing the scoreboard. They're all my age. Like there's no EMTs there waiting or anything. So I'm sitting there, and the pain hits while I'm laying on the ground, and I'm like screaming on the ground, right? I'm like, I'm just absolutely screaming. And I look up, and there's just a group of kids around me just staring at me. No one's saying anything, like,
just in shock.
What do we do? And so they kind of pick me up, bring me over to the side. They go get me ice. That's really all we knew what to do. I prop my leg up on the chair, and I watched the rest of the game.
A bag of peas, toss it on
They
there.
kept
That's
going.
basically it.
Get the meat wagon, and they shuffle them off, and they kept it going.
Yeah, isn't that what we... That's what we all want in sports, is just grab the old stretcher meat wagon, ship them off to the sideline, roll them over, and we'll keep going.
And that's basically what we did. We continued the rest of the game, and it was pretty I mean, it took like 10, 15 minutes to like get me off the court and everything, and like because no one wanted to like touch my leg or anything, so it was pretty tough. But then we got off, and it was, like I said, a really close game. So I just sat there with ice, watched the rest of the game. After like 10, 15 minutes, I felt fine. Like it was really bad pain for a few minutes while I was laying on the ground, and then I felt okay. I'm like, okay, this is encouraging. And then I watched the rest of the game. We ended up losing the game by a couple points. It was really close, which stunk because, I felt like I could have made a difference if I was playing, but I was sitting there with ice on my knee. And so at the end of the game, I'm kind of expecting like, okay, hopefully someone went and got like a trainer. I don't know if there's anyone around it. This is like, it's like 10:30 on a Sunday night. So I'm like, there's probably no one around, but like, I just was like, I'm sure someone will do something, right? Someone will go get someone that knows a little bit about anything.
Oh no, it's the Wild West. Intramurals are the Wild West. You're on your own.
We finished the game. I'm sitting there for 5 minutes, and then all my teammates had all gotten all my roommates I played with, they had gotten all their stuff packed up, and then they're like about to walk out, and then they turn around and they're like, "Oh, Devin," they're like, "He's just sitting there." And so then they come over, the guy that ran the intramural league, and he was like, "So, do you need anything else from us?" It's like, I mean, I can't put any weight on my leg, but I guess not. I guess I'll just get carried back to my room. I don't know. So I tried to put a little. I really couldn't put like barely any weight on it. So the scene of me going back and like my roommates, God bless them, they took care of me that time, and they ended up having to take care of me for the rest of the semester. Unbelievable friends, but they had me on the shoulders, like basically carrying me out to the car. Luckily, it's a small campus, so it didn't take long to get down there. I live on the second floor too. I had to go upstairs to get to my room, so that was brutal too.
No elevators.
No elevator?
No elevator. It was a townhouse. It wasn't like a dorm.
Okay.
So it was just like it wasn't many stairs, but I still had to go upstairs. So it was rough. But if we fast forward, so you know what ends up happening, I tore my ACL completely and my meniscus. I didn't think that it was that serious when it happened because after 10 to 15 minutes, it felt fine. So I was like, okay, probably a sprain. I knew I did something. Come to find out after talking to the doctor, this whole process took weeks too. I didn't find that out until like 3 weeks later. But the doctor ended up telling me what I felt I said I felt something like rubbing together when it happened. That was the two bones. The bone from my upper leg and my lower leg rubbed together and I'm like, this all happened from an intramural basketball game. This is a 9 to 12 month recovery that's going to now happen throughout the rest of my senior year. I was in a brace, a straight-legged brace for 6 weeks, because normally with an ACL injury, you're in the brace. After like 2 or 3 weeks, they start bending it a little bit. You can start moving. But I also tore my meniscus. And with a meniscus tear, you're in a straight brace for 6 weeks. So that kind of slowed down my ACL recovery and everything too. Oh. So it made for a very rough 2019. I know everyone else is like 2020 is the worst year that we've ever seen. For me personally, 2019 was the worst, because I was in crutches most of my last semester. I was luckily able to recover in time to, like, when I walked across the graduation stage, I had a little limp, but I wasn't like, it wasn't like noticeably like, you know. So I'm like, it's my college graduation and I'm going to limp across because of an intramural basketball injury.
I just want to point out the fact Evan just said 2019 was worse than 2020.
For me personally.
For the viewers.
No. That's not what I'm. For me personally, it was I couldn't.
Coronavirus.
That's the thing too, is I've always said like how much I thought I got screwed my last semester of college, because I'm like, man, like all my friends are out, like this was right before 10 days before my birthday too, and like my last semester, and I'm like, man, I got screwed like that. How much worse could it possibly get for your last semester of college? And then the very next year, the entire semester gets canceled. I'm like, wow, I actually was pretty lucky. So I realized that now, but it was a pretty funny scene. And the only other thing about that story was I didn't even go to the doctors or anything until 24 hours later. I had a capstone presentation, my first big one, on Monday at 3:00. I was planning on, now I am a major procrastinator. I don't know how I graduated college. I waited to do this huge first big capstone presentation until after my 10 o'clock Sunday night game. I was planning on starting it then, waking up early, whatever. I only have one class before that. I figure I'll get it done on Monday. Then I tear my ACL at the game. So now I do nothing Sunday night, and I'm like, you know what? Like, and looking back, I have no idea why I still did that presentation. I could have reached out and probably gotten it pushed back. I hate like making excuses and everything like that. So I was like, I'll just, whatever. Like, I have to go to urgent care tomorrow anyway. It's 11 o'clock at night. Might as well do the presentation. And then just, my buddy was in my class. He was going to drive me after. It was my right leg. I couldn't drive.
You didn't want to send that email to the professor stating that you might have torn everything in your knee in an intramural loss at 10 p.m. that night.
I did not.
By the way, I haven't started the project.
Well, that was the fact that I hadn't started was what made me not want to tell him, because then at that point it's like, okay, like you didn't start it till now. So I feel like I kind of put that on myself. But I did it for every project. I still graduated. So anyway, yeah, I went and I did the presentation, but I couldn't. Oh, I went to Health Services. Didn't have crutches for me. All I wanted was crutches, so that because I really couldn't put any weight on it. I couldn't walk around campus, and they didn't have crutches at Health Services.
What?
So
how?
My friend, my roommate that was in that class with me, put me around his shoulder. It was the most. I hate attention on myself. It was so embarrassing walking around campus from my townhouse, which you have to go like up hills to get up to the unistructure where the classes were, and I was like limping like horribly around his shoulder, and then I get to the class and I'm like grabbing every chair and like every desk around me, like trying not to fall down when I walked to the front of the class. And I looked at the professor. I was like, "Can I sit down?" He was like, "Yeah, you should probably sit down." So I gave my presentation sitting down. I did very well on my presentation. I think I got some pity points. And then I went to urgent care.
Flu game.
Yes, I went to urgent care after that at like 5 o'clock the next night, and then I found out I got an MRI the next week. Found out a few weeks later. So, yeah, that's my intramural story.
They had a couple of crutches for you at urgent care.
At urgent care, they saw me walk through the door at urgent care, and it was a really good place. Now I was in Smithfield, Rhode Island. I had to go to a place in Providence. I'm not from the area, and I had no idea what I was supposed to do. So Health Services did lead me to the right place. So they were great there at that urgent care place that I went to in Providence. But I walked in the door and walked up, and she was like people were shocked that like, how does this kid not have crutches right now? I mean, I walked in there by myself. My friend dropped me off, and I was like, again, Nope, couldn't put weight on it. I'm like literally hopping in there.
Oh
Drew,
my
it's that
God.
gif of Leonardo DiCaprio from The Wolf of Wall Street when he's crawling
Like,
to the
he's
car.
crawling.
That's him going
By
through
any
the
means
emergency room
necessary.
doors.
Yeah.
That was me all of that Monday, like the whole entire day. And then they finally gave
God.
me crutches, and I went in there, and so I got crutches from them. Finally.
Well, what a story. We'll end on a
Yeah.
dark note.
While I
From
have you,
Okay.
let me just say one more thing. Curtis, you might remember what this is reminding me of in my driveway.
oh,
Round one. Let me
Oh
just tell
my
a quick
God.
story while we're here.
I almost think Billy Foz needs to be here to tell this, but go ahead.
Should we table it?
No, say it. We gotta say it at this
All right.
point.
Well, Billy is probably listening, so we'll shout him out as well. Not even remotely as severe as yours, Devin, but let me just kind of go off the cuff here. So I want to say it was middle of summer. We're playing a pretty intense one-on-one game, me and Curt. And I feel like this cannot be understated. When we get going, it's like anything you have to do to get to that rack and get that bucket, you'll do, basically. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Like it's pretty ruthless. Like
Couple
I'm talking,
elbows here and there, a
Yeah.
little blood.
like
Yep.
it's pretty vicious. So it's a game point right now, and I'm on D, slapping the floor. I can hear the crowd going nuts.
The paper.
I start digging in. Right. Keep in mind, there's some gravel in front of my basketball hoop from my driveway. There's a little bit of sand, and I'm not wearing these like sick ass Air Jordans. I'm wearing like these. I'm probably wearing friggin' flip flops.
Well, Timberlands would probably be the right footwear for that type of surface, anyways.
Yeah, like a nice workman's boot, which I don't have. So I'm digging in. It's game point. I will do anything that I possibly can to not let this kid score, because I know if he does, it's going to be a bad hour and a half of me just getting emotionally demoralized. So he drives to the left. I open up. I go to block the shot and leave my feet. And when I land on my knee, I just feel it, like you said, Devin, just completely fold under me and give out. And I fall. And I know exactly what it is. For anybody who knows me, it's the old kneecap dislocation. Happens once in a blue moon every couple of years. It came back to haunt me. And I think you guys thought I was kidding at first, because
I don't think
Just
we
because of
thought
the
you were
situation.
kidding. We were just in an awkward, like, well, we really don't know what to do here.
similar to Devin's, when it's
Yeah.
people your age, they just kind of look at you like, eh.
Well, and they didn't think that I was faking, but they certainly thought I was. They're like, okay, like let's chill with like the screaming on the ground. Like they thought that I was
Drew
being a little
wasn't-
bit dramatic.
Drew wasn't screaming. He was just writhing in pain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no noise, just riding.
So there's got to be a little bit from you, Curt, that's like, okay, like come on, like I'm sure it hurts, but like let's go.
Exactly.
And then you find out that it's serious. And you're like, oh, whoops.
So here's the kicker, Devin. Here's the kicker. Curtis doesn't say a word, right? And I'm getting like picked up off the ground, whatever. No, I'm still on the ground. Sorry. Excuse me. I'm still on the ground. Billy Fosbury walks over my body. Like I'm talking the AI, the famous AI. I believe it's
Over
called
top.
AI.
Hello.
Similar to that. And as he's stepping over me, Devin, he goes, "Hey, the worst part about this situation, that bucket went in and you lost." As I'm laying on the ground writhing in pain. That's what one of my very good friends had to say to me.
That jumper.
And that was
He had to point that
jumper.
out.
it's an all-time situation, and I will never ever forget laying on that pavement in pain, just hearing Billy say that.
So did Curt cross you up? Is that how it happened?
I don't know if it was a cross-up. All I remember is he was driving to the left because I opened up to my right and kind of went up to block the shot and like left my feet. And when I landed on my right foot, it just like.
Sounds like you crossed him up.
How I remember it, Dev? I don't remember a jump. I remembered a little drive jab step and then just pull up, and it was a tumble.
God.
It was a tumble backwards kind of.
That
deal.
would have been a highlight. Like
You hate to
that
see those
happens
on-
right now during this quarantine. I mean, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you literally dislocated this kid's knee.
Yep. That was
I'd rather not think of it that way, but what a story.
one for the record books. That's the last game of basketball we've ever played in that driveway, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. We
Competitively
left
versus
it.
each other. So.
And a lot of people have said too, because mine happened in an intramural game, like, oh, like so you must not want to go back and play pickup basketball. I'm like, oh, I'm ready to make my comeback. I'm playing charity league in the fall, and I'm ready to make a mean comeback, like Derrick Rose.
I love it. You should release like a Players Tribune or something, and just.
I
like,
should.
write
And
about
funny,
your comeback.
yeah.
After
I
the first
absolutely should.
intramural win, here's Devin Murray's journey back.
Yeah, exactly. That
I'm
would be
crying.
all time.
And
Wouldn't get
shout out
one.
to my roommate Chris Reimels gave me he had it just in the back of his closet. He went and found it. Derek Rose T-shirt. I have the picture of me
Oh my
right after
God.
my surgery is in it. He said you gotta wear this during your surgery. So I went in for surgery and like you have to put on the gown and everything. But I like went into the hospital for my surgery in Providence. Derek Rose shirt on. I had it on afterwards. It's
Oh my
unbelievable.
gosh. That is all time. The planning that went into that and the execution.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, thanks, fellas. That's going to wrap up episode 4, The Golf Guys, double feature of the intramural stories here. Hope you stuck around. Pat Goss, play us out.
What's for lunch? TBBLC.
Stay in your seat.
What's for lunch today? Sausage. Brown bag, brown bag.
The Brown Bag Lunch Crew.